Hello everyone, quick video for you today. I say quick, it's not exactly something I'm renowned for, is it? Anyway, a video on, as the title suggests, some evening meal ideas for when you're wild camping. I say wild camping, but these are options when you're carrying your own stove, so that could be when you're bivvying, bothying, expeditioning, anything like that really. So when you're planning your meals for whatever it is you're doing, you want to look at a few different factors, and that includes overall weight and bulk, includes taste, very important, and also the calorie content and the nutrient content of the food, so your carbohydrates and your proteins and all that sort of thing. You also want to think about the cost of the food you're buying, and also the ease of use and how easy it is to prepare it. So all these examples I'm going to be looking at today, I've used at one time or another, and in fact all of them I still use really, but it depends on what it is I'm doing exactly. And these are a mix of, I suppose, outdoor specific type meals and also non-outdoor specific, off the shelf in Asda type things. Okay, so to start off, we've got these kind of off the shelf, dehydrated sources of carbohydrate, basically, that's what they are. To begin, the humble super noodle. Some people will absolutely despise these. They do have their place, I think, though. Especially if you're on a budget. These are like 50p. And for that 50p, you're getting about 500 calories once you've prepared it all. Which is pretty good, seeing as you can pay a hell of a lot more for the same number of calories. You're getting, with that, 60 grams of carbohydrate, which again is pretty good actually. I suppose the downfalls are the rest of the nutrient makeup of these. They are filler, really, if you want to think about it that way. And also, they do involve cooking and getting your pan, and so there is a little bit of washing up to do. But it's not the end of the world, and as long as you don't burn them onto the bottom of the pan, you'll be alright, really. While these are good in certain circumstances, pot noodles are rubbish. Don't buy pot noodles. The main reason is the bulk. You've got all that wasted space in the pot, and also you get kind of a smaller portion size, so definitely a no to the pot noodles. So a similar example, and something I use quite a lot actually, in fact a lot of the time I use these, are these Couscous sachets. Now the best thing about these is, again, for like 50p, so small, they're so lightweight, these are great. Yeah, that's like 100 grams. Don't you just love it when your memory card fills up halfway through a video? You'd think after nearly 3 years on YouTube I would have got this by now, but no, not a chance. Right, back to the content. So, a downfall to these kind of options is they're not particularly high in fats or proteins. And basically, those two food groups are really, really important for your body repairing itself. So if you've been taxing yourself a lot, walking a long distance, or doing something really physical, you really need those food groups. So fats are, out of all the different molecules, they're the best source of energy. That's why peanut butter and just nuts and seeds are great things to snack on when you need a boost. They're great sources of unsaturated fat, which your body needs, and it's also, well, it's good for your body. Saturated fat, not so good for you. It's like what's in, fast food. But like with everything, a balance. If you're only having it occasionally, it's not going to do you any harm, really. And it tastes great. So one of my favourite options for padding out my couscous is these Mattison's sausages. They don't weigh much. They're not too bulky. In fact, I'll get this one out of the packet. There you go. So that's just external packaging. You can get rid of that. That's what it looks like on the inside. Yes, it's saturated fat, it's pork, but it's good. It tastes good. It's full of fats and carbohydrate, and yeah, it's a good way of bulking these out, I think. If you're not a fan of these branded ones, then things like chorizo or just smoked sausage, they're good options, and they're basically the same thing. So yeah, go for those. Do you want some numbers? I'll give you some numbers. So half of that, you're getting 320 calories and 15 grams of protein and 29 grams of fat. So loads of energy there to keep you going. So another one I've used in the past, again, it's not really outdoor specific. You might have come across these before. These are called Look What We Found, that's the brand. These are basically, this is a chicken casserole, but you get things like bolognese or chili con carne, things like that. In these packs, you know, you get them off the shelf, so no need to go in a fridge. They do weigh a little bit, that's 250 grams, but I think they taste really good. Some people are like a bit more fussy, but when you're in a bothy or you're bivvying or whatever, no one really minds. So I think they taste pretty good. I've pretty much lived off these on things like DV and various canoeing expeditions, that sort of thing. You can pick these up in Asda for definite, and also Booths if you're in the north, places like that. I think you can get them online as well. They cost about £1.50, £2, I think, depends. But yeah, they just need reheating. So you can do that, either take the top off and stick it in some hot water and warm it through like that to save you washing up, or you can tip it into a pot and heat it up like that, and if you've got a bit of washing up, but again, if you don't burn onto the bottom of the pan, it's not the end of the world. So some nutritionals, in one pack of this you've got 170 calories, which isn't great I suppose, but you've got 21 grams of protein and, you know, various other bits of carbohydrate and stuff in there. A bit more of a meal, although you don't have like a carbohydrate source with those. So sometimes what I've done is had one of those and had a little packet of couscous to bulk it out a bit. So they're my preferences on homemade options, if you like. Have got a couple of outdoor specific ones to share as well. But like always with these things, if you've got your own ideas, we're all learning here, so share them in the comments. I'd be interested to hear. I'm sure people watching this video will be interested to hear. So yeah, share away. I suppose one thing I haven't mentioned, but I have seen people do before, I suppose in the winter and when you've not got long to walk, so say you're walking into a bothy that's fairly close to where you're starting, I've seen people just having a Tupperware container of last night's spag bol or whatever and just reheating that in a pan. That's the easiest thing to do really, if you don't mind carrying a bit of weight and a bit of bulk and having a little bit of washing up. You know, use what's already in your fridge. I think whenever you can, do buy or do kind of think of your own things to use, because they are the cheaper options. You're looking at spending maybe a couple of quid on your evening meal, as opposed to £5–10, which are going to be these options that I'm going through now. So you've got two options really for these. You have non-dehydrated and dehydrated meals. These are fairly run-of-the-mill. These are just ones I found lying around or have borrowed, because I don't really buy these anymore, apart from certain occasions. But there are starting to be some more kind of Gucci options out there, and some more kind of, what's the word? Just nicer ones, because these are fairly average. They're not going to win any Michelin stars, let's put it that way. I would at some point like to do a bit of a group test on these type meals, so if you'd be interested in seeing that, do drop me a line. But yeah, so let's have a look at the hydrated meals to start off with. So they come in these little boil in the bag sachets, that you just rip the top off. You can just stick them in water or decant them into a pot to heat them up. They're already cooked, so you can actually eat them cold if you are so inclined. They don't taste great cold, going to warn you now. Weighs 300 grams this one, and they're a little bit bulky, but that's not too bad really. Nutritionally, they're okay. Of course it varies on what meal you're getting. This one is a veggie curry actually, so it's not going to have as much protein in it. Veggie curry and rice I should say. It's not going to have as much protein in it as a meat option, but as a general guide it's got about 300 calories, 40 grams of carbohydrate and 7 grams of protein, which is alright. I suppose the thing I had an issue with these is the portion sizes aren't that massive. After a big day on the hill, I do find I've still got a lot of room left over after I finish one of these. And between you and me, that's something that the manufacturers have put in so that you're more inclined to buy their pudding option to go with the main meal. Which I think is a bit cheeky, because these cost between £5 and about £8 depending on who you're getting them from and what brand you're getting. So as you can see, if you're doing a multi-day trip or doing overnighting on a regular basis, that cost can add up quite quickly. You can spend even more on them if you like actually. You can get ones with heating kind of pack things in them. I haven't used those myself because I've got a stove. But I suppose if you were really trying to go lightweight or you're in certain weather conditions, then that would be an option. Okay, so lastly, we've got the freeze-dried, super lightweight meals. These, loads of brands making these. This is just a bog standard macaroni cheese that I found lying around. I don't buy these on a regular basis, but I have to admit they do have their place. So this guy weighs 100 grams, and for that you're getting just over 500 calories. And to go along with that, it's got a kind of a complete nutrient profile of carbohydrates and fats and fibres and all that sort of jazz. The best thing about these, I think, is just how convenient they are. You just rip the top off, boil some water in your little jet boil, so you don't need a big stove or anything. Pour it in, seal it, wait a few minutes, and there it is, it's ready. So for those who don't want to mess around with any washing up, or want to just go really lightweight, then that's where these come in. That's why I'd use them perhaps if I was doing a bivvy, but for general wild camping I use one of the other options normally. I did actually on my ML assessment use these. I didn't use this brand, I can't remember what it was I used, but they were special high calorie ones. One was 800 calories and one was 1,000 calories. So if you're doing really big days out and don't want to carry a big weight in food, those ones are a good option. One really important thing for these, they don't always agree with people's stomachs, and the flavours can be a bit hit and miss sometimes. The ones I used on my ML assessment, they tasted alright, but they were really spicy. I had a chili con carne and I had a chicken curry, and they tasted good, but I've got like no tolerance for spicy food, and I just found them way too spicy. I was having to like really struggle to get the food into me. Which isn't good, which isn't what you want. So if you can, try them before you actually use them on a big expedition or on an assessment. Kind of the big disadvantage of these, I think, is the price. They're upwards of like £7 or £8, and that's just for a main meal. If you're using these for all your meals, that's going to stack up so quickly. So yeah, as I said, I only use these freeze-dried meals if I'm really trying to go lightweight. So they're the things that I've used or do use at the moment. As I said, there's loads of different options out there. It's all personal preference. So if you've got your own ideas, do share them in the comments, please. Now, you may have spotted the little mountain food bit in the title. I kind of want to make a bit of a series here because it's my two favourite things. It's food and it's the outdoors. Yeah, so I've got some ideas for like recipes and also other nutritional kind of advicey type videos. I hope that helps. If you've got adventures coming up soon, lucky you. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Bye!